Hey there! I was contacted through the miracles of modern technology from across the world by Santini pens. And I know of Santini pens. I have used a couple of Santini pens at pen meets from my dear friend Sinister Peter. But I've never owned a Santini pen, and I am profoundly regretting that I have not owned a Santini pen before. I'll show you why in this video. Anyway, Santini asked me, would you like to review one of our pens? I said, of course. They sent me this particular model. They asked me what I wanted, and we had a bit of a discussion, and I settled on this. Now, I know it probably looks quite dark. Maybe you can see it. It's a little hard to make it catch the light. I'll make sure there are pictures on the website. A vacuumatic type, I'll get to that, pen. Beautiful, large, faceted, stellar material. Filling system, made in-house. 14 karat gold nib, made in-house. Ebonite feet, made in-house. I'm blown away. I'll lead by saying that in the best way possible. Once I do my writing sample, you'll see why. This is a fantastic pen, and I'm trying to temper my enthusiasm because I don't want to come across as this video being some sort of ad for Santini, but to me this pen hits every single mark. So sit back, enjoy the ride, but be prepared for a lot of positivity. So here we go. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I'll do a writing sample. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, which isn't a lot. But before we do that, a very, very kind thank you to Santini for sending me this pen. If you wanted this back, it ain't happening. So let's get started. Okay, so here we go with the Santini vacuum filled pen. I'll show you the box, and I'll put the pen down so you can have a good look at it, and we'll talk about the pen and what makes it special. So this box has a magnetic closure. You open it up, and then there is a warranty card, and there is some paperwork in it. I'm just taking it out so I can show you. A nib test, checked for writing. This is a broad nib, of course, that's what I requested. So they have tried that, so you actually know that your nib works, which I like. Then we have a congratulations card, just because they sent me one for review. There is the little pen condom it comes in, and then there is the vacuum ink instructions on how to fill your pen. And by the way, this is really nice, very smooth stock. Really feels really luxurious, actually. So two finishes, right? There is sort of a purple, there is a brown. Both are really attractive. I won't really demonstrate the filling system because there's ink in my pen, but I'll try and talk you through it a bit. Let's look at the pen, and I will zoom in a bit so you can actually see it well and up close. This is a large pen. Here we have a Pilot Metropolitan, so you can see that's a big one. Let's talk about the pen a bit. So this is a faceted pen. They faceted it to really try to enhance the beauty of the material. It's a vacuumatic type system that is produced in-house in Italy. I don't want to go into too much detail because I can't say that I necessarily fully understand all the ins and outs, but in a nutshell, to use this pen, you unscrew this part, and then there's a spring in there, and this whole part sort of pops back. You put in a bottle of ink, you push this back end a couple times. You do that again and again and again and again and again. Every time you do it, blurbs of ink, that's an official term, blurbs of ink just flow into the barrel until it fills up more and more and more. Now, what is very interesting about this is that Parker designed something like that. It's a vacuumatic filling system. But those pens had a rubber diaphragm that was in contact with the ink, and over time, as the ink then sort of was used up, the diaphragm could dry out, and then it could crack, and then you have to replace it. Santini has modified that system in such a way that there's kind of like a sort of a telescoping piston in there, and the actual seal kind of, this is a little confusing sentence, the actual, that sort of seal is sealed away into a chamber, and as a result, it's not in contact with the ink, so it should not dry out, which is a very nifty way of looking at this filling system, I think. Okay, it has a solid gold nib in 14 karat gold. You can get a flex nib on it as well if you want. You can get fine, medium, or broad, as well as a stub. It has an ebonite feed. It's a solid gold monotone nib, but you can get a two-tone nib by request. And these particular pens are limited to 98 pieces. There's the purple and there is a brown. I really liked this purple. I'll try to do it justice in the pictures that I'll put on the website. And here's the price, 790 euros. So this is an expensive pen, but it's also exceptionally well made. So let's cover the pieces of this pen, and I will talk you through some of the things I found very, very interesting. Okay, so on top, the finial, we have the same material as the rest of the pen. I'm just trying to do this in such a way that the light actually captures the material, so it's not solid black, it's actually a deep purple. I really call this sort of an amethyst color. Facets all around, which just capture the light beautifully as you turn the pen. We have a nice broad clip with a little wheel. It's a stiff clip, but with the little wheel it works well putting it into a pen case. We have a gold center band there. There is quite a bit of gold on this pen. You see some on top there as well. Then we have the rest of the barrel. It is a blind engraving here that says Santini, Italy. This is number 30 out of 98. Gold band, and this band is actually textured, which is great because that's what you hold to unscrew this part to fill it. I'd recommend using a somewhat bigger bottle of ink, just because you don't want to, you have to push this mechanism fairly hard. You don't want to sort of compress the nib against the bottom of the bottle of ink, obviously. Okay, so barrel has that purple on it, is also transparent, as you can see. You can see the ink in there. Santini says it's about 3.5 milliliters of ink. I think I've been able to get in about 2.8 or so, but it's just a little vial. It's not a very scientific or accurate measure of measurement. Okay, cap unscrews. Then you have the section, nicely made. Section is round, not faceted, and then you have another gold ring there. I'll come back to that in likes and dislikes. We have a number 8 nib made in-house by Santini, 585, so 14 karats of gold. Has the Santini logo on it, and it has an ebonite feed, a big chunky feed also made in-house. That's not negative, it's just a nice feed. You have some threads there which are not at all sharp, and then we have the pen, quite large. Now if you really feel that this must be posted, you can post it, and then it's really, really big. I don't think this needs posting. It's a sizable pen as is. Absolutely beautiful though. I really, really love it. Let's maybe see how the pen writes. Now this is just Pelican Hub paper I have, which is a little absorbent. Not the greatest, but it will get the job done. Let me zoom in a little bit. One of my favorite parts of this pen is the way it writes. So here we have a Santini. Oops, I think that skipped with me. This is not really lying flat, so because in all honesty this hasn't skipped on me a single time in everyday use. This is a vacuum filled model. It is a broad 14K nib, and the ink is Santini Royal blue, which Santini also kindly sent to me because they said it works well with the pen, and it does. Really pleasant royal blue. Okay. It's an incredibly wet writer, and this is pretty absorbent paper, so here you don't really see that. Okay, so here we have the Santini vacuum-filled pen in a 14K broad nib, and the ink is Santini Royal Blue, which they kindly sent to me saying this ink works well with the pen, and indeed it does. Okay. It's a nice broad nib, and I'm just quiet because it's just such a pleasant writer. Let's see if we can do some fast writing. It's just great, and it is so incredibly wet. It's a very, very, very wet writer. Okay, line variation. It's a nice round nib. Maybe a slight stubbiness to it, but that's often the case. It is really quite broad. Flex. So, as always, very careful. If you want a flex nib, you should buy one of their flex nibs. This one's not meant to be flexed. As you can see, you can squeeze out a bit of line variation. Very, very smooth, very pleasant nib. For those of you who enjoy such a thing, reverse writing, it's such a wet nib, it has no issue with it. Also doesn't become super scratchy, it's really nicely ground. Take it from a broad to a fine. Wonderful. And finally, we should discuss likes and dislikes. What do I like? What do I not like about the Santini vacuum-filled pen? A lot. I think it's beautiful. The material is fantastic. Again, it's hard to capture this kind of stuff on camera. It's also a very dreary day, so I have a very bright desk light coming from that side. Again, I'll try to put pictures on the website so you can see the material. It's a deep, dark purple. You have the translucency and actual transparent bits on the barrel. You have a cool filling system. It's 100% made in Italy, which I think is fun. They really do innovative stuff. They're now working on different filling systems. I think that's really cool. There aren't that many companies that make their nibs in-house anymore. They exist, there just aren't that many of them. Santini is doing that, and what a job they're doing. The Santinis I've briefly used in the past at pen meets, so if you've never been to a pen meet, the way people typically do it is they sit around a table, they pass around pens, you quickly write with them, you pass them on to your neighbor, so I haven't had a lot of time to really explore these pens. Now that I have one, it's almost impossible to put down. That's what a fantastic writer it is. It's hard to put down, you want to keep writing, it's smooth, it's soft, it's super wet. It's a delicious writer. If you like dry nibs, this pen is not for you, period. If you like a wet writer, if you like a gusher, if you like a super smooth writing experience, look no further. This is it. I absolutely love it. Things I don't like so much. There are two things that I will mention. One is at 790 euros. It's an expensive pen. There should be no mistake here. It's not an expensive pen. In my mind, though, you get an awful lot. Now, there's always someone at this point who says, well, it's easy for you to say, they sent you one. Yes, I know, and I'm grateful, and I'm honored and all that, but that doesn't bias my experience. If it writes as well as this pen does, that's a fact. If it is as nicely made as this pen is made, that's a fact. So the writing experience is exceptional. I have used hundreds and hundreds of fountain pens at this point. This is one of the most beautiful writers I've ever used. And I've had some $10 pens and I've had some $1,000 pens. This one is a fantastic writer. So yes, it is expensive, but you also get an awful lot. An interesting filling system, a cool material, a nib made in-house, a feed made in-house. So I think it's fair to pay for that a bit. One thing that I will say that I'm not 100% sure about is this gold band on the section. I have no issues with it aesthetically speaking. It looks nice and balanced with the gold rings at the end. It's just that to hold it, I tend to hold it a little bit more highly, and then it's not that this ring is sharp or anything. It's just that I feel that maybe if the entire section would have been the same material, I would have found the tactile sensation a bit more pleasant, because now my finger is kind of half on metal and half on resin. Is that a major issue? Not really, because I'm assuming it's gold. It warms up really quickly and you don't really feel it. It's just a thing I've noticed. It definitely does not really detract from my enjoyment of the pen. I think I've sung its praises quite enough. But it's something you have to get used to a bit. And once you do, it's fine. Also because there is engraving there that can fill with something, so you do have to wipe that down, use a soft cloth, don't scratch it, etc. But I mean, that's it. It's stellar. I'm still looking at it in awe, and I might be willing to say this is penfection, and that's all there's to it. So a very, very, very kind thank you to Santini for sending me this pen. They're not inexpensive pens, and if you're a smaller company, which Santini is, sending off something expensive to a random guy is a lot to ask for. But they did that, and unprompted, I didn't ask them to send me a pen. A stellar brand, and one to be, I would say, to watch very closely if you're considering a next pen purchase. Consider Santini. That's all I'm saying. Again, I'm not paid for the review. Sometimes people get these kinds of questions. They just send me a pen. I think it's great. I love it. So there we have it. I hope this was useful. Thank you, Santini. Keep doing what you're doing, because it's amazing work. I hope this was useful, and I'm glad to see you later. Bye.